What's going on, y'all? What's good?
Yo,
What's good? What's good? You're seeing us in a different, yet not so different platform, so to speak. Same bad time, different bad channel. Same bad channel, different bad time. Anyway, I don't know what I'm trying to say.
it is the same
Um,
bat channel. It would be a different bat time because it's on a Sunday.
there you go. There you go. That's a better way to put it. No, so I am your boy Superjaz, or you can call me SJJT, whatever you want, what have you, and the like. And I am not the only host. I am here joined by.
Well, y'all know who it is, what's going on, when it's happening, where it's at, and why we're here today. How you doing? It is me, the sublimely magnificent, big ugly himself, Omari Ellis, feogrande on YouTube, as usual.
And this time around, so if you look at the early episodes through the many whatever we wants that we've had by now, which is kind of impressive that we've done this many. But if you look on the early stages of this channel, it used to go by a different name called Call It In the Ring podcast, because me and this guy, and my brother for that matter, who's not here, cannot stop talking about wrestling. And since we've been little kids, all we did was watch wrestling. If you watch whatever we want, there's probably several points where you're like, I don't care, skip, because we keep talking about wrestling. So we said, you know what? We're going to try to get back to a wrestling podcast because we do enjoy discussing, like any modern wrestling fan who is in our age bracket, or honestly, maybe even older or younger. We love talking about wrestling with other wrestling fans and talking about stuff, having bigger opinions on things that we know nothing about, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So we said, the week by weeks thing didn't work with our schedules, which is why we stopped. So we're gonna try doing this on a month by month base. Talk about all the things that are happening within the month of wrestling in and of itself. More of an AEW type slant, because admittedly, I ain't watched a full episode of a WWE program in, I can't tell you how long. But we
I
are
have
talking
not
about.
since the Raw after WrestleMania.
There you go. But we are talking about wrestling in general as a whole, and not so much the week by week basis because our schedules don't allow being, grown as men. So, like I said, this is going to be first Sunday wrestling. Chances are, as Pete said off camera,
Primero Domingo.
there's probably a million
or Domingo
first Sunday wrestlings, but we're gonna talk about first Sunday wrestling, and we're just gonna every first Sunday we're gonna get these out to you about what's happening. So now this is gonna be a little bit more than just the month because there's a few things we missed before we talked about wrestling, in a full episode. So this first episode, let's see, first topic we're gonna get into WrestleMania 38.
Oh man, WrestleMania 38. I actually enjoyed it. I will say.
Go ahead.
Oh yeah, that's right. We're supposed to talk about it. I was gonna say there was a lot of misses. There was a lot more misses than hits because it was very hit or miss. There was a lot more misses than hits. However, the hits made me not care about the misses at all one bit.
Well, see, this is the thing, right? This is the thing that's been happening. I mean, it's been happening since we were younger within pop culture, let alone happening, especially like as of late with wrestling and stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
And people have been saying WWE, not that I hate the nostalgia, but WWE really relies on its nostalgia.
Yeah, but to be fair to AEW, but to be fair to WWE, while it is the inferior product now, I'm not saying it isn't. Calm down, people at home.
I never said it wasn't that.
I said calm down, people at home. Just because I can say in fairness to somebody don't mean that I'm fanboying over them. But to be fair, AEW, while they have a lot of young faces and a nice few new coats of paint, they rely heavily on nostalgia too.
True, the Hardys returning and dressing like their old selves. Yeah.
Hell, using their old theme while they're at it.
Right.
CM Punk, but they take a lot of they got a lot of names. Sting.
Chris Jericho.
Jericho. So they got
Jake Roberts.
And their whole presentation is, remember back in the late 90s, early 2000s, how they did wrestling? Cool. Let's do it that way.
Good point. Good point.
I hear you. WWE does not have a lot of new faces that they can look at to the future. They keep having to go to the well that is nostalgia. WWE is more obvious because their younger superstars aren't helped as much as AEW's.
Yeah, now that is the one thing that I would definitely say that AEW does, but it's almost like they had to do it out of necessity because AEW was starting from basically who are you?
Yeah.
To like
it's the perfect time to push young talent.
So that they had to strap them to established acts. Take Lance Archer, put him with Jake Roberts. Take you already had Jurassic Express, but then you slide Christian in there. Yeah. You take Sting, put him with Darby. Like they took. No,
I'm not hating on them for doing it. I'm saying they are building young superstars in AEW. WWE, by technicality, is, but they're few and far between, and they're a few injuries away from having like nobody really care about what they're putting on TV.
Because speaking of the nostalgia, speaking of the hits, the biggest hit of WrestleMania 38 was.
So we're talking about the main good thing about the pay-per-view, and then just gonna shit on it afterwards.
I mean, I'm not saying I'm gonna shit on it necessarily afterwards. I'm just, we're looking at our notes. I'm talking about,
we're gonna start off with the best.
I'm just saying a perfect segue. A perfect segue, I thought was just
okay. Speaking of nostalgia,
the biggest thing, the best thing, the number one thing was nobody thought that if you sat out the ring for 19 years, even if you stayed in shape or not, because they always say there's a difference between in shape and ring shape. Nobody thought that possibly the biggest wrestler in all history of wrestling would come back and actually wrestle a fucking match.
I dare say definitively, unless you count the fact that a lot of people also know who Hulk Hogan is. I still feel like cultural impact. There's a difference between a lot of people knowing who you are and having a cultural impact, like what fucking Austin did. Because Austin was on the goddamn Simpsons and all other kinds of shit. Austin's everywhere. Anyway, Austin. Go ahead.
I was gonna say I've always said that Austin is, out of the main Hulk Hogan, Steve Austin, The Rock, and Cena, Austin is the one wrestler that got big solely from wrestling. Everybody else got big and then they did movies and it made them bigger, but Austin was big mainly. He did movies too, but the main thing you know of him is wrestling. That's what I mean. Anyway.
Cena's in movies now, but that don't mean people only know him from movies.
I think the way I phrased that,
John Cena definitely is still mainly known for being a wrestler.
I think the way
you can make that argument for The Rock.
Didn't come out right.
You can kind of make that argument for The Rock, because I'm sure a lot of Zoomers don't remember The Rock being back when he was a thing.
That's true.
The Zoomers remember Cena, though. Cena was made for the Zoomers.
True.
And unlike the other three, Cena was on top the longest.
That's true, because we forget that The Rock was only there for about 7 years.
Yeah, and he wasn't on top that whole time.
And he wasn't on top that long, right?
Hell, to be fair, Stone Cold wasn't on top for that long his damn self.
This is true. The Attitude Era was not as long as we all remember it fondly, but it was not as long as it seems looking back.
Yeah. So
anyway,
that's something to think about when it comes to those. The only person that I'd say might have had a longer period on top was Hogan, but I don't think wrestling was as big during those times. Hogan definitely pioneered it enough to get it to where it is.
Yeah, right. But anyway.
Yeah. So I loved it. Stone Cold redeemed the weekend. He redeemed the weekend.
I thought you said he ruined the weekend.
No, he redeemed it.
Well, I'm going to say, I thought you said he ruined the weekend. And what I mean by that is I thought you said he ruined it by being so good, nothing could top it. That's what I thought you were getting at.
No, he redeemed the weekend. And like I said, there were a lot more misses than hits. But the few hits they had redeemed it. And even though they had a couple other hits, which I'm like, I guess we'll talk about the lesser stuff after we talk about the main good thing. They weren't enough to save it from being a shitty pay-per-view.
I mean,
it was just like, it would have been like your typical WWE pay-per-view where it's like, I didn't like the pay-per-view, but these couple matches were good.
Yeah. The thing is, when it's WrestleMania, there have been shitty WrestleManias, so let me not even say that. But no, like I said, nobody. Okay, we knew Stone Cold would be there. We knew that he'd be going against Kevin Owens, which great pick. First of all, one of the best doing it today, and he uses the stunner. But everybody was like, okay, it's gonna be Stone Cold ain't wrestled a match in 19 years. No shit, he's not gonna actually wrestle a match. He's gonna get in the ring with the KO show. They're gonna talk some shit. A table gonna get thrown around or whatever. Throw a chair, stunner, beer. All right. Well, he said, "Oh, you want to have a match? I didn't get a rep down here." It's like, wait, what? Yeah. Everybody's like, "There's no way." And then he actually like, wait.
Yeah.
And then Twitter was blowing up.
I was kind of hoping that something like that would happen. But the more they just kept saying KO show, I'm like, he'll probably just beat the shit out of him then.
That's what everybody
thought. And there won't be a match. And then it made it an actual match, and I'm like, yeah.
Man, and like I said, Twitter was blowing up, me included. I one of the things I tweeted was, thank you, WWE. For a brief second, I was 10 again. And it was like 2001.
I would have done that if I wasn't too busy geeking out as if I was 10 and didn't have a Twitter.
Respect.
I was just like, I might have did like Stone Cold exclamation points because I couldn't think of anything else to say. Actually, I think that is what I did. I just did Stone Cold exclamation points at the end of the night, and your brother liked it.
his late 50s ass fucking taking like suplex bumps on the exposed concrete. They wrestled in the crowd. Like, come on, man.
I'm thinking that people like Sting's 63-year-old ass jumping off of rafters. Speaking him still jumping off of rafters and everybody else doing they shit has me under the belief that a lot of older wrestlers are seeing what's going on and being like, well, shit, they still having fun, and I want to get back out there.
I kind of want to get back in this game. Yeah. Speaking of getting back in the game, in Austin and WrestleMania.
Now that's what caught me off guard. Was the I was here for it, though. I was here for it. Now, the crazy thing is about the Vince is that's what was rumored to be Pat McAfee's match before they said it was Austin Theory. Yeah, I remember people being like, I heard it from my roommate who pays more attention to the dirt sheets than I do. And dirt sheets is, I hate using that term because I don't think anybody's out here like, I got that stuff.
It's kind of a dirty term, but I know what you mean.
You know what I mean. But he was like, apparently it's rumored that Vince McMahon is going to fight Pat McAfee at Mania when he goes on Pat McAfee's show to have his interview. And he went on Pat McAfee's show and he offered him a match against a mystery opponent at Mania. That's when they announced and they're like, wait, is the mystery opponent McMahon? But then it's like, no, it's Austin Theory. Because Vince is clearly heavy on the Austin Theory thing.
He's the new Drew McIntyre.
Yeah, even more so. Drew McIntyre had Vince go, this guy is going to be champion. Drew McIntyre. But Drew McIntyre wasn't on TV with Vince every week in his office and like literally losing a match when Vince picks him at a pay-per-view only to have Vince get in the ring to take revenge for him. Like, that's what Austin Theory has going on.
Austin Theory is the chosen one.
That was why it was awesome.
Some people were saying they could have done something with Austin Theory and Shane at one point, but I think there was like issues with Shane behind the scenes.
Well, considering Shane's not with the company anymore.
Yeah. Because they were like, the chosen one and the son, that would have been pretty good. Nah, man, I watched it. First of all, we talked about this a few days ago. We were talking about bringing the wrestling podcast back, and we were talking about the, celebrities known for other endeavors getting in the ring, and Pat McAfee. Actually, I think we talked about this on an episode of Whatever We Want for a brief second. Pat McAfee and like how good he was in the ring, period.
Yeah.
But then after, when he puts on the match and he like says to Vince, come on, get in the ring. And Vince T's taking off. Like, and then I was like, what? And then Shout out to Brian Zane wrestling with regret, where he was like, and then there it was, everybody, the black tank top, and I was like, yeah, that's what it was.
You gotta love the black tank top.
I will say this though, and I don't blame him. I'm not upset because I loved it. I'm with you. I was here for it. I'll say this though, Vince, I see you. You fucking genius. That man, 75-year-old ass, didn't take one bump. I don't blame you.
He said, now, here's the thing. He would. Huh? Don't get it twisted. Vince would take a bump. It's Vince.
75-year-old ass.
Yeah, he still would take a bump, but he just didn't. But they made it work because, they had the whole cheating angle, which Vince took a bump. It was very poorly, but he took a
Oh. Please.
The new world's worst stunner. So Vince cheats the whole time, beats Pat McAfee by punting a ball into his side. Hilarious. Beat an NFL punter. Yeah, beat an NFL punter by punting a football at him. So, and then everybody's like, oh, boo, and all of a sudden, that glass breaks.
Nobody thought they would see.
Stone Cold comes down, stuns the shit out of Austin Theory, stuns the man so hard he bounces into the air, flies out of the ring, and changes and removes Austin from his name.
Right. That's honestly one of the best stunner sales.
He stunned the Austin off of that man. And actually, I think they did say story-wise, Austin Theory's fuck the name Austin because that guy. I'd rather just be Theory now. But that's because Vince loves taking people's names and being like, nah, you have a realistic name? No, you only got one name now.
There's actually a little bit of a reason to that I'll get into after we finish on Wrestlemania. That we can talk about.
Yeah.
Not that I necessarily like it or not. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
The stunner.
Yeah, so, and then, Stone Cold does the classic, let's share a beer, which, if you're sharing a beer with Stone Cold Steve Austin, there's about a 98% chance that he's going to stun you. These is just the rules. I don't write them. Who knows who writes them, but them's the rules. But, he swears to Vince that he ain't gonna stun him. And you even see Vince I'm too old for this shit, Steve. Nope, no stunners. And he's like, beer. And so, Stone Cold still has his beer summoning power, so just summons some beers into the ring, opens them up.
That's his superpower.
Yes, the dude holds up his hand and a beer comes to it. He summons beer, yeah.
I remember that one time that beer smacked him in the face. I saw that shit live, not in person, but live feed.
He's not immune to dropping them, but you gotta commend the rate of catch, the catch rate that man has with those beers.
His catch is amazing, and the dude throwing them is amazing.
Yeah,
because the dude throwing them could hit Austin, whether he right here or way up on the stage. It's who is throwing this shit?
Well, they fired his main dude. They might have brought him back for Mania, but they finally fired the guy that was doing it because I remember Stone Cold tweeting about it because he was upset. It was during this whole firing era. But anyway, so we don't spend too much more time. So they're sharing a beer, and sure enough, Stone Cold goes to stun Vince, and oh my god.
Oh, man.
Vince was too old to be taking a stunner. First he slips off of Austin's arms and falls back way too early and bounces off the ropes. So he bounces off the ropes and back into it. Then Stone Cold does it again. Vince just kind of slowly goes to his knees awkwardly and falls over. It just looked terrible. Stone Cold just laughing his ass off.
It was the worst stunner, which subsequently made it the best stunner.
Yeah.
It was so fucking bad that it was amazing.
It was the worst stunner in the best way.
Good
and because it was on Vince, it just made it even more perfect. Because Vince doesn't take good stunners anyway. He never has. Vince doesn't take good stunners anyway. So the fact that he had the new worst stunner ever was perfect.
The very first one the people were talking about the very first one that he did on him back in the day when he was wearing the black jacket or whatever, and he did it fell all over Stone Cold, and it was the fuck, flopping like a fish and shit. But no, man, the nostalgia, like right in the fucking feels, man. It was like I was, 9, 10 years old watching programming that was way too old for me again.
It sure did. I just had a smile on my face just for the rest of the night into the following day. I was just like, yeah, Stone Cold Steve Austin.
He wrestled a match, and like everybody would have, we would have wanted him to wrestle, but everybody would have been okay if he didn't.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, another big deal that happened, not as nostalgic, but a return to WWE from the rival company from the guy who kind of spearheaded the ship against said company.
Cody showed up.
Yeah. Now, I know that a little bit of us talking about what's put on put within the notes. I mean, people I was gonna say we had a lot to talk about. Well, people have spoken somewhat ad nauseum about Cody's return and like how we feel or don't feel about it. So I mean, I guess to just be brief with it, I'll put it like this: never say never in wrestling. You never know what's gonna happen. When Bret Hart returns and in the ring and hugs Shawn Michaels, and then is like, all good. And now he's signed, I think, back with him again. And just, without Cody, you just never say never in wrestling, man. That's the biggest thing I'll say about that one. I will say this, and this is not to disparage Cody, but again, like I said, having opinions on things that I don't know anything about, so to speak. But that's the point of this show. Not to disparage Cody, because Cody's living his best life, doing his due. He's got his woman in his corner. I get it. He left. He made himself a much bigger player than he was when he was there. But it does look a little shaky. However it looks a little shaky to leave, say we're going to spearhead the thing that's going to be the main thing to be a competition, and you're the main one taking pot shots to then return and act like that didn't happen.
Yeah, a little shaky. Let's call it that.
What you got to say, bro?
I'd say it's a bit more than a little shaky, but I like that term for not getting into too much of a diatribe on the situation. Because, like you said, it has been spoken at ad nauseum, and I think we briefly touched upon it in one of our Whatever We Want podcast episodes. I'm with you with the whole to go out there, and do. Not because there have been plenty of stars that got fired by WWE, made a bigger name for themselves on the indie circuit, and came back. Drew McIntyre is a great example of that. John Morrison left, blew up on the TNA and the indie circuit, came back, and then got fired again because WWE. And
well, like AJ Styles never got fired, but he came from TNA. So
he built up his name and then came in. So it's not that it can happen. Jinder Mahal left, built himself up, maybe not on the indie circuit, but he definitely came back like twice his size and got his job and became a champion.
Yeah.
Jinder Mahal of 3MB fame is a WWE champion.
First Indian born, yep.
I'm just waiting for Heath to come back and be the third one. I don't think you understand how happy that would make me that the jobberest of jobberest teams had 3 future WWE champions on it.
Damn. That would be like
that would put them on Shield tier.
I was just gonna say they would be the anti-Shield. Like, I was just about to say that. Anyway,
fucking Heath Slater, the 1-man, 3-man rock band.
I like Heath Slater. Fuck 3MB. Anyway,
I love the 3MB.
Fuck 3MB.
I didn't want them to win. They were hilarious. I wanted them to job, and that's what they did. And I found it funny.
They were the most, hey, we don't know what to do with y'all. Well, he's a rock band type of dude. Okay, y'all being a team.
Yeah, and it was hilarious because they took it and ran with it, which is all you can do if you get a gimmick. It's like, well, might as well make the most of this. And they did, and it was hilarious. And then Heath Slater kept the fucking 3MB theme even after it was just him left. He's the only one left in the company, and his song starts with, and they just changed the beginning from "We're a 3-man band." It starts with "I'm just one man, but I'm a one-man band." And then they just start playing the 3MB music so much that they didn't bother changing the chorus. It goes right into "We're a 3-man band." Doo-doo-doo. I'm like, wait. You changed the beginning, but you left it as the 3MB.
I just no shade to them three dudes.
I am not trying to say they're in some top 20 or top 100 even tag teams or factions of all time. I found the shit hilarious. That's all I'm saying.
I think you're taking my disdain or brushing off too seriously. Because I know you're not saying that. I just can't necessarily have as big a smile as you do. That's all.
I like smiles.
Anyway, back to your Cody thoughts.
But yeah, for him to leave, what Drew didn't do, what John Morrison, to my knowledge, didn't do, was go on such an anti-WWE tirade. So much that you like all but in name calling out Triple H on like almost every fucking pay-per-view entrance you do. Hey, here's the Triple H throne. I'm gonna break it with a sledgehammer. Here's some other moment where I'm like, I'm gonna take out this sledgehammer because I'm getting mad. JK, I don't need something like that, and toss it to the side like sledgehammers are for bitches. You know, that on some, you know, on some kind of shit. The golden shovel, because Triple H has been referred to as the golden shovel. All the while doing his best Triple H impression, where it's like, oh shit, somebody else is coming up, I'm taking their win streak. And then he gets mad when people start booing him because they see what he's doing, and he's like, I should be face.
Teasing pedigrees and shit.
And he's like, also, I'm not even in the main event title picture. First off, they made up the TNT championship for yo ass so that you could have the thing every week. Especially because yo ass decided, hey, I don't want people to think I'm doing my best Triple H impression, so I'm gonna take myself out of the title picture. If I don't win this match, I'll never be able to go for the championship in my time here in AEW. Oh, look, I got screwed out of that match by MJF, and there you go. Now, you're the vice president of the company. There are ways around that stipulation. One, you turn heel and say, fuck you, I run this place. I'm putting myself back in the thing. Or two, you find some way to get like Tony Khan or somebody else, like a GM, to be like, well, technically, you didn't actually throw in the towel in that match. So we can give you a chance, or hell, go on a storyline about winning on a face storyline about winning your opportunity to be able to fight for the championship back. Yeah, winning your right to fight.
Yeah.
You gotta fight for your right to fight. And he didn't fight for his right to fight. Instead, he left and went to WWE, and he's like, I'll tell sad stories about how my dad's dead, and they'll cheer me because they don't watch AEW.
I'll put it like this. Oh, are you done? Whoa.
And then, you know, they immediately put him back in there. If he gets the title, cool on him. He did the right, he did the smart thing, clearly, because it worked out in the end. But like you said, it's a little shaky.
I'll put it like this, though. All that being said, the way in which they're setting him up to get the title, if he does, I can get behind saying my dad should have got it. The company cheated him, quote unquote. He should have got it. He didn't get it. So they did, but I'm just saying, like, that's the word, but they did. But my dad should have got it. He didn't get it. So I always wanted to get it and hand it to my dad, but now my dad is passed, so I'm still going to just get it for the Rhodes legacy. That is okay with
No, that's a realistic storyline and all of that. It's just with how hated that man had become in AEW. Yeah. Or, and I'm not even going to say hated, but booed. Him and his wife were booed so heavily they almost turned Dan Lambert face.
When he was supposed to be the heel in it, yeah.
Just because he was insulting Brandy. And so obviously Cody didn't like that, so he took his ball and left and went to WWE. And like, I'm gonna try to be face over here, and so far it's working. I'll see what happens when WWE goes to Orlando, because I didn't realize people hated Cody till he went to Orlando at that one show, and they were just booing the shit out of him. And then every week afterward, everyone was booing him.
Whenever a face starts to suddenly get booed, it's always one show where it's like, holy shit, apparently the entire crowd knew something I didn't get the memo.
An old dude next to us was like, because Cody used to have this thing in AEW where he came out with a fucking wrestling belt on, and he took that off and threw it into the crowd. And there were some people like fighting to grab it, even in the midst of all the boos. And this old dude next to us, I don't know if they threw it back at that one, but they were trying to catch it there still. And the old dude next to me and my roommate was like, I hate that bastard, but a souvenir is a souvenir. I'd fight for it too. I'm like, and my roommate and I neither of us realized people were that against Cody Rhodes. We're like, Orlando does not care for Cody Rhodes, apparently. So we'll see what happens.
Well, I know one thing that people weren't liking from Cody on like a smaller level, but it added to it. People didn't like that his entrance was so over the top and extravagant. It didn't bother me, but I know that was something that people talked about. It didn't bother me.
If I ran a company, you don't think I would come out like that? Fucking choir at the beginning.
The big chandelier thing raise up.
Yeah, just like spotlight as I rise up through the ground.
Your voice, there's more than one royal family in wrestling and shit. Yeah.
I'm the fucking greatest. And then all the fireworks in the world.
The chandelier thing stays up now too because of the fact that he's not there no more. What was I gonna say? But no, man, like you said, if he gets the title, it works out for him. The one thing I will say, which I've said to my brother when we talked about it, was that I'm all for it if this is the best thing for him. But if within a few months, years, so if they kind of forget about him and push him down the card, you know, you can't say shit because
Yeah. I said yeah.
I left the job one time, went to another one. Then they promised me some stuff, went back, and it was worse the second time. So it's like, well, I could get mad at the job the first time, can't get mad at them the second time. So, yeah. I
haven't done that, but that kind of thought process has crossed my mind.
It's like, yeah, it's like, so, but if you go back and it's better, then, so clearly time is going to be the ultimate factor as to if this was the right decision for him. Yeah. But we'll see. So there you go.
Yep, exactly. It's his life.
Big recovery to Rick Boogs. That was something I didn't put in the notes, but I want to put that up there.
Yeah, see, that's part of what I hated about WrestleMania. It was like so many things I liked, so many of the few things I liked left in WWE. And I'm not going to be like, I loved all of these, but I'm saying there were things I liked about it. Mm-hmm. They died that weekend.
Oh, you talking about like Rick Boogs was one of the things you liked?
Rick Boogs, awesome person. He's hilarious, and he's on the shelf for who knows how long because he like tore his quads.
Tore his patella. I thought it was part
patellar.
Of the match.
Yeah, it's patellar.
Patellar's like in his knee.
Yeah.
I thought it was part of the match because it was like the kickoff match and they opened it up and he tried to get both Usos on his shoulders.
Yeah.
And the way he went down, I thought it was fake. And then I found out later, I was like, oh, that wasn't part of the show.
Yeah.
Oh, he wasn't supposed to go down. Like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
Apparently they had a lot more match left.
And it was one of those things where when that happened, like my room and I both were like, that is a bad omen for Mania if I've ever seen one.
Yeah, that was like night one first match, not night two. That was the first match.
And then they followed it up with the death of the End of Days.
Oh, yeah.
The one thing Baron Corbin had.
Yeah.
The thing that he's even said in interviews, like, if he never wins the WWE Championship, that would be fine as long as the End of Days can remain never kicked out of. And they kicked out only to immediately have Drew win, like I think Drew whipped a Claymore, ate an End of Days, kicked out, and hit him with a Claymore. And it was like, you could have just had him hit him with the first Claymore.
Yeah. This is my thing with that, right? Because we've had other podcasts that failed attempts at podcasting for wrestling that I talked about my kind of not being sold fully on Mr. Corbin. I will say this: every time the man does a deep six and does a end of days, it was gorgeous.
It's a fantastic move.
And I'll also say that they didn't have to necessarily build it up like the Undertaker streak, but they could have built it up more than the announcers just passively saying, "Did he kick out of him?" That shit.
Like,
if he was the first person
to do it, right? He should have been like, they should have at least had a storyline where he's like, "No one's ever kicked out of my moves," and
they should have built it up.
And hell, you know a good way to, or an even better way to build up that move is Baron Corbin at least mentioned that he's the last person to pin Roman Reigns
with said move.
Yeah, Tribal Chief Roman Reigns, 600 days,
Yeah.
Doing his best San Martino impression. He's not the best at it, but he's trying to do it. That guy couldn't kick out of end of days. That guy kicks out of like 8 F5s in one match. Yeah. He couldn't kick out of end of days. Drew McIntyre has gotten bodied by that guy.
And still beat him one time with the move that no one kicked out of. No, you're right. Like I say, that's the one thing was if they were going to have that happen and have him lose to Drew, which would have been fine. I do think that they should have made that a bigger proponent of the match.
Oh, definitely.
So that way when it happened, the crowd would have been like, oh shit, as opposed to because nobody necessarily that fact is not made as prevalent.
Oh no! Like I had to find that out like a month before while watching a fucking YouTube video.
Like if Undertaker kept winning at WrestleMania, it would have been something people would have kind of talked about, but we wouldn't have known as much if they hadn't started telling us how big of a deal it was.
I think once he got to 10-0, people would have put 5 and 6 together.
Well, still, but you know what I mean. But yeah. Speaking of celebrities.
Also, Charlotte had the first person not to tap out of the figure 8.
Oh!
Only for her to win anyway.
Did I catch that? I don't know if I caught that. Okay.
Yeah. Like the figure 8 finally got someone not tap out to it, only for Charlotte to win the match anyway. What?
Yeah, I heard Ronda was a little upset.
Also, revenge match for actually injuring our best friend in real life and damn near killing him. Here's our revenge match. Oh, we get squashed anyway. Our name is The New Day.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, and I was so mad.
And it was a weak-ass match on top of that. Oh, yeah, I'm looking at the results, like I said, just so I could pass through as we talk. And the match was, I knew it was short. It was shorter than I thought.
And they moved it from from one show to the next show.
And it was only 1:40. They moved it because I think they said the Austin shit went long or something. Something went long. It wasn't Austin because Austin closed the night. It was something went long and they had to move it around. I don't know.
Which is crazy because they started the first match and it went shorter than it was supposed to.
Yeah. Bianca Belair, after getting squashed at SummerSlam a year later, finally ends up winning in a match that I didn't see all of, admittedly, because I'm not gonna lie, working hard, I was dozing in and out of some WWE shit for WrestleMania. But
all right, so
you can say it was a great match.
It's good that it was a good match. It's good that she got her revenge on Becky, but to be like she finally got something done, she literally was the women's champion last year, winning it at WrestleMania over Sasha.
Okay, let me take the word finally out.
But and what it was like half a year. But no, I'm happy that she got her revenge against Becky, and it was still a good match. Still a good moment. Still a good moment. Because I think that's one of the few things where they were like, wait, we just had Becky come back and kill off Bianca, and we don't really have a lot of people because we're so busy trying to, we don't have a lot of whole women's divisions worth of credible, threats. Because they just have them get shat on all the time. So they're like, yeah, we need to get this back on Bianca.
They have a lot of.
Let's redo what we did last year. Just instead of Sasha, it's Becky this time.
They have a lot of female competitors, but they don't necessarily have a lot of like female big players. I'll give you that. Yeah. I do agree with that. But no, the whole thing with the Bianca thing, Becky in every interview that you saw her talking about it, whenever it got brought up, she stood by it. She said she thought it was like the best like idea. She stood by it. She was like blah blah blah. And I mean, I'll say this. I can kind of understand if you really are playing the long game, which I don't think WWE necessarily was with this one, but I can kind of see, okay, Becky's definitely going to get cheered. What's the quickest way to get her booed? Have her squash in a pretty fucked up way one of the most beloved, people in the company right now, and then the get back will be that much better. I don't necessarily know if y'all was playing the long game like that, but if y'all were,
they were.
Maybe. I don't think they were, but if you were,
because you gotta look at look at a lot of the stuff where people, and I wish I would have like made a list of these things, but I remember hearing about the list where it's like something happens and people are like, they're playing the long game, just give it time. Yeah, you guys are too overreactive to things. Killer Cross, amazingly good person in fucking NXT, scary ass motherfucker, TikTok fall and pray. Here's this lady just like yelling at you and you're like, damn, this dude's terrifying. Squashed immediately by Jeff Hardy on Raw on his debut. And people are like, they're playing the story, the inexperienced thing. It's the long game, people, and just gone in a month.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there were so many other instances of stuff like that where they're playing the long game, people, and gone.
Yeah. Now there have been instances of playing the long game and it actually was a long game, but there are a lot of instances of playing the long game and it was were they?
It's harder to trust WWE doing that with the rate of firing people and the way other stuff has happened than it is to trust AEW claiming that when they do it, because I can be like, yeah, I see how this led to this.
Yeah. But I mean, like I said, it was a good way to definitely get Becky hated, because on her return, after being a mom who's gonna boo her, and she left on top. So when she came back, she was gonna get cheered. So it was a good way to get her hated.
That's what kind of pissed me off about Mania. Why wasn't Becky fighting? Well, because of the Bianca thing, but you could have easily had Bianca dethrone Charlotte. Well, I was gonna say, why wasn't it Becky Ronda? Ronda lost her title to Becky, who pretty much stayed as a champion that entire time till Ronda got back. So you have her against the only woman that bested her. Like, I feel like star power wise, that's ridiculous. Because Bianca toppling Charlotte's, 15-time champion ass still would have been a strong story and come back from it'd be like, Becky may have squashed me, but I still got this title from Charlotte, who's who accomplishment wise is on a better tier than Becky.
Charlotte Flair's ability to play smug with Bianca's, like, I don't give a fuck type attitude, like, ain't nobody gonna stand in my way attitude, it would have played off each other very well. I'll give you that. Because Charlotte can play smug so well.
Yeah.
And then Bianca playing, I don't give a fuck about anybody standing in my way against that would have worked out. Because now you have Bianca, nobody gonna stand in my way, but then you also got Becky, like, I'm the queen type, like, not Charlotte, but like, I'm on top. Ain't nobody gonna like. It was
on top. A beep bop boop, beep bop bop. Beep,
it was
beep beep boop.
It was two nobody gonna stand in my way type deals. So it would have been like a little bit of a difference. I give you that. Speaking of celebrity stuff, like what'd you say, Jackass 5?
Yeah, Jackass 5. Yeah,
Jackass
5 was fun too. Jackass 5 was a fun match.
Man, that match was amazing.
And to his credit, even though I know I'm supposed to hate him and, burn the witch or whatever, Logan Paul did a good job.
He really did.
Yeah.
The Paul brothers, like, again, I agree with you about that. We're supposed to hate, but, if we would be haters if we lied and said, like, the Paul brothers, when you see them, they're actually way more athletic than you think.
Yeah.
And I love the weird, like, millennial Gen Y, or actually I think he might be a little like teetering on Gen Z flex of I'm not just gonna wear a chain.
Yeah, he wore a Pokemon card. That's hilarious.
I love that. Well, because when he came to his boxing match, he had the coveted holographic Charizard.
I was wondering why it wasn't a Charizard.
Because he already did that.
Fair.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
That's why I was like, yo.
That's hilarious. And I've said it before, I appreciate branding and stuff like that. So if you're just like, oh, it's big match time, let me bust out the Pokemon card and that's your thing. Like, you see him with the Pokemon card on, you know he's here for a real.
It's a weird flex though. Like, I love it because it's different. It's like, yo, wait, no. I have millions on my neck in a different way. Like, I love that. So, no, man. And then if you look at it too, his outfit matched the Pokemon card.
Yeah, because it was a Pikachu, right? It was Pikachu
right,
illustrated.
Black and yellow.
You know what it is.
Exactly. All in all, I'm not necessarily going to like rate WrestleMania, but all in all, it was a decent WrestleMania. Like you said, the hits and misses. The thing was, the big hits were definitely big hits, but the misses were kind of big misses.
I didn't care. I cared, but I'll put it this way. The misses weren't enough to make me regret watching WrestleMania. Stone Cold and everything Stone Cold related that happened at that pay-per-view made that the WrestleMania was a win for me. Not necessarily a 10 out of 10, but you know what I'm saying. It's one of the best WrestleManias ever. Congratulations.
Yeah.
However, no, not the. That's always X7. But there's been 40 of these damn things.
With 2 away.
Fair enough. So you get my point. Like, that's you can have a big range for like one of the better ones. For me, just for having Stone Cold, it's one of the better. However, that said, the rest of it, even because there were good matches in there too, and with the bad. But the bad was enough to make me not want to watch any more WWE for a while.
Like I said, the spectacle. Again, I'm just giving shout outs to all wrestling people that I'll be watching. Wrestling, like people doing channels and talk about it and whatnot. But shout out to Steve and Larson, where they said, and it's true, they showed with WrestleMania that WWE, this is the one thing WWE can do that no other company can. Now, granted, it's because of money, but
still,
the spectacle of WrestleMania and the sports entertainment aspect of it, they showed, we got that in spades.
No, Vince gets it. It's just he doesn't get the full picture completely, but he does still get it. As shown with him doing the thing, with him being in a match, and how he built up that Pat McAfee Theory match, and how he built up a lot of other stuff at this WrestleMania. Like, it shows there are still aspects of Vince still getting it. There are just other aspects where they miss it so hard.
I feel you. Okay, let's move on to speaking of people returning. I did not see this. I've only seen pictures. I didn't see people talking about it. So admittedly, I will say to you as well as the people watching / listening, I very much am speaking ignorantly of the subject except what I saw leading up to it. But Mr. Public, Give Me My Release has made his return. Ali has come back.
Oh yeah, I'm in the same boat as you. And I don't know. I was surprised. I figured with him stepping out on a whole y'all some racist shit, I figured
public as fuck.
That's what I'm saying. With him stepping out on some y'all some fucking ass racist shit, not saying he was right or wrong in his assessment of that, but that is what his stance was. To see him agree to come back, I was like, fair enough.
That's why I said never. I
would not have expected that, but okay, we'll see what happens, or I'll hear what happens. I'm not gonna see it.
Never in wrestling. That's what I say. You just can't say never in wrestling, man. Like, I'm not saying he'll return to WWE, but nobody thought we'd see CM Punk wrestle again. So.
Oh no, he ain't going back to WWE. I'll go ahead and say never.
Hey man,
that man waited for a competitor to come into existence.
Waited for somebody to create a whole new company.
That man waited for someone to make a whole new company before he came back.
He waited till there was
and not even just like an established name like New Japan, because he could have just taken his ass to New Japan. But he's like, nah, I'm waiting till somebody makes something in America.
That's some true shit. But hey, if 5-10 years from now, we in our 40s, if Punk goes to WWE, I'm gonna be shocked. But
I'm gonna be shocky ducky quack.
Shucky ducky quack quack quack. Fuck out of here.
I love that that's a thing on the pre-show. Sorry.
Yeah. Jesus Christ, you good?
Sorry. No, I love that that's a thing on the pre-show. Just, and this is it, my shucky ducky quack quack moment of the night.
Like, I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah, they got a little graphic that pops up. It's got a rubber ducky with Booker T's dreads. It's hilarious. Oh, damn. I don't remember. No, I wouldn't be able to say it on here anyway.
Okay.
King had some kind of fucking savage ass joke on the pre-show, and I forgot it. It was savage.
I just love, like, if you look at the clip when he first said Shucky Ducky Quack, I think it was a match with Kelly and somebody.
He said,
and he was like, Shucky Ducky Quack. No, the first time he said it.
Oh, okay.
He's like, Shucky Ducky Quack Quack Quack. And you had like a pause, and Michael Cole was like, what?
Michael Cole is better than
a lot of people give him credit.
Like, I realized that in later years. I'm like, yeah, actually, Michael Cole is pretty sick. He's still not JR or King, but he's Michael Cole.
Nobody's gonna beat JR.
It's like, at this point, he's Michael freaking Cole. Like, it works. Because he works well with just about anybody.
Yes, he does. Also, that's facts.
He cracked me up during McAfee's match. He was so fucking hype for Pat McAfee.
He was fanboying all over him.
He was putting him over so fucking hard. And there was a video of him telling Pat McAfee on like the Friday before when Pat McAfee was doing his little blog thing. Sees him backstage and Michael Cole getting ready for Sunday. He's like, there's only been 2 commentators, or only 2 people in WWE history have commentated and at the same WrestleMania that they wrestled in. And you're looking at them. Me and Pat McAfee. And he's like, I'm putting you over so hard on Sunday. I'm going to be cheering so hard for you. Sure enough, just, oh God, Pat,
yeah, no, he was fanboy.
Get him back. Get him back. You would have thought it was JR and Stone Cold with how hard he was going for Pat McAfee.
JR used to go hard for Stone Cold. That's facts. Speaking of people being, like, what people, speaking of people trying to, possibly being different. What the fuck? Fuck the segue. I'm trying to segue. This segue ain't working. I don't know what I'm trying to say. What do you think about this Ezekiel shit? I love it.
I actually love it too.
I thought the way you paused, I was like, no, he hates it.
I haven't watched a lot of the segments. I saw, that was one of the things that made me regret that I wasn't going to be watching much WWE when I was like, nope. Because I kind of wanted to see where the Ezekiel thing's going, but I don't want to watch Raw for 3 hours to see where this Ezekiel thing's going.
Just watch the clips on the YouTube. That's what I do.
Fair. But no, he just fucking came out, I'm not Elias, I'm Ezekiel. At first, my first gut reaction was like, what the fuck? And then I'm like, oh no, wait. Kevin Owens literally is saying, no, you're not. You're fucking Elias. Okay, they're not actually trying to act like he's another character. He's supposed to obviously be Elias. Thank you.
So smart.
I was like, thank you. Because at first I'm like, you guys took one of those dudes that does what you want. You want an example of someone grabbing a brass ring and them just being like, fuck you? Elias, that motherfucker just had a gimmick. Go out there with a guitar. And within 2 weeks, just, who wants to walk with Elias?
Which is over. Fuck.
Fucking made his own album and was at the top of the iTunes charts day one.
I think during WrestleMania 34 or some shit like that.
He got to have a concert.
He did like a local concert around there, yeah.
No,
like surprise concert
blew up just WWE stands for Walk with Alliance. And this is your heel, everybody. And then they just were like, we're also just going to make him lose, and take him off TV for a year. And then try to bring him back, and I'm Ezekiel. And it's like, are y'all really going to try to, like, are y'all really going to try to act like this isn't the motherfucker that had the whole goddamn arena go and walk with Elias? And Kevin's like, no, you're Elias. I'm like, okay. So clearly he's supposed to, okay. No, I'm interested in where this is going. It's more of a Santina thing than it is a legit gimmick swap.
Yes. And what I love, like I said, that's what was so smart, because they would have just tried to do that. Everybody would have been saying what KO was saying without him saying it. And we honestly probably would have thought it was dumb.
Yeah.
But because KO is doing it, that makes it good.
Yeah.
Because now we're in on the joke. But yet KO looks like a fool, even though he's not.
Also, who wants to speak with Zeke or whatever the hell it is that he did to replace Walk with Elias? Hilarious.
Well, and then the fact that they got him, he passed a lie detector test. What the fuck? I follow him on Instagram. His name is it used to be Elias.
Says I am Elias.
I am not Elias WWE. That's his Instagram handle. I am not Elias.
Okay, because like 2 days ago I saw. Oh no, his Twitter I think is still I am Elias WWE.
It's fucking hilarious. I loved it.
But something my roommate pointed out to me when I got home today was like something he realized that they're doing with this Ezekiel thing. If you notice, he keeps showing up and interrupting other people's segments.
I haven't noticed that.
Apparently that's the thing. Apparently he keeps showing up. Apparently, like Monday, he interrupted like 4 people just coming out. But he did it with like, not even being rude, just, hi, I'm Zeke. So he's doing it with kindness, but he's actually getting back at everybody because everybody would always interrupt his concerts.
Yeah, that.
So he's doing the reverse as Ezekiel.
We shit on WWE, but sometimes they come up with some good shit.
That's what I'm saying. They haven't entirely lost it. But there's a lot else on that show that I just, oh no.
I agree.
I'm good.
Speaking of WWE and the show in general, it seems as if they are ending the brand split.
All right. They'll start it again in 2 or 3 years.
They haven't had, I think, the brand split like ended in like a long time though. Like it's been some years.
About 3 or 4 years.
I thought it was more than that.
Nope, they do it repeatedly. They get a bunch of talent. Go, oh shit, we gotta split the show to showcase all this talent.
That's what the brand split was made for.
Then they fire people and or push the wrong or don't push enough people, and they're like, we don't have enough big names and big talents for 2 shows. Let's unify them. Somehow build up a lot of people while they have the non-brand split, and then go, okay, we need a brand split. This has happened a few times, so I'm just okay.
Yeah. It seems like they're ending it though because they unified the titles with Roman and Brock. They're about to like unify the titles with the tag titles. They only have one women's tag champion, So it seems like they're headed towards unifying titles and then ending the brand split, subsequently. So we'll see. Now, I will say that I remember back in the day, they didn't have a brand split for a minute. And, it worked out fine. But then they had the brand split, and it also worked out fine. Although I will say, at one point, even though Raw was the A show, SmackDown became the better show as far as quality.
Oh, no. Yeah, that's been until this Roman era, that was the case. Mm-hmm. And even early in the Roman era, that was the case, that SmackDown was the better show, even though Raw's the main show.
So that's the problem when you do have a brand split. That's one con I can definitely think is if you have a brand split, one of your shows was definitely gonna look lacking. So if they end the brand split, but one of the things that they did for the brand split, the reason why they did it too, was because they wanted a lot more people to shine and be able to get exposure. But also, it took stress off of the athletes, like as far as wear and tear on the body and travel and all that shit. So hopefully, people don't get too fatigued now, being back if they do end up ending this thing. I mean, honestly, I could go either way. If they end the thing, like I might like the brand split a little bit more than a unified show.
Yeah,
but I'm not too here nor there on either side of that fence. So.
Fair. Same.
All right, let's get into some AEW talk. I don't watch enough New Japan. I'm sorry, everybody. Same. I apologize.
Same.
I'm still gonna watch the fuck out of Forbidden Door.
When's Forbidden Door? If it's not the same weekend as CEO, I will watch it too.
June something.
I'll probably DVR it and watch it anyway. But I'm saying if I'm at CEO, I won't watch it live. Just depends on when it happens.
I'm all for Forbidden Door, man.
Same.
Like, just the simple fact that they're doing
New Japan puts on good stuff. And a lot of their people have been coming over to AEW anyway, so that should be fun. Like, and showing up on episodes, like Minoru Suzuki, the legend.
Who I love now. Saw him wrestle live at the Glory Pro show they just did over the weekend.
Nice.
Me and my brother. Saw him wrestle live. And it's so funny. Well, first of all, Forbidden Door, June 26th. But what's the name? No. It's like it's so funny because Minoru Suzuki's matches, they're good without it, but then they just turn into let's chop each other to death.
The fucking Samoa Joe Minoru Suzuki
when
match.
They were just spinning around.
It was literally just chopping each other. It was cross chops the match, and it was fucking glorious.
I called it dick measuring contest.
That's what it was.
I loved it, but that's exactly what it was.
I'm like, I've never really seen a match like this, and I love it.
Did you see? You didn't see him versus Danielson, Minoru Suzuki versus Bryan Danielson.
When was it?
This was shit. If not early this year, towards the end of last year.
Then yeah.
It was good, man. Yeah. It was good. Like
I like him versus Moxley. I like him against pretty much everyone I've seen him against.
Do with it what you will, but Meltzer gave him versus Danielson like a 4, however much out of whatever 5 stars. So it was good. And like I say, it just becomes a dick measuring contest because him versus at Glory Pro, like I saw, it was him versus Jake something, who I'd never heard of, but is making a name for himself.
Yeah.
And at one point in the match, Minoru Suzuki, like they're wrestling, and then they get in the center, and he goes, ha. He like taps him on the chest, like, like, come on, let's go. And they just start chopping each other. And then, of course, Jake chops him, and it was like not that much. And then everybody always like, shh, shh, shh. And then Suzuki chopped it. It was like, wow. I was like, holy shit. So, no. And then, of course, you got Ishii. You got what? Ibushi, Okada.
Yeah, you have a lot of other names Ospreay. That I don't watch, but I heard of.
Now, this is what I say, right? Because again,
I'm not hating on it.
No, I know you're not. But it did like I don't watch enough of it, but I know enough about the Golden Lovers with the thing with Kenny and I want to say Ibushi, I forget, but Kenny and somebody. This is what I say, right? If he's up to it. Forbidden Door, because Kenny Omega made his name in New Japan, that'd be the best time for him to return, right? Yeah. Have him return and have it be, it's going to be the Young Bucks versus we don't know who, but it's going to be mystery opponents from New Japan. Young Bucks come out, who are they going to wrestle? Then, what's his name? I forgot, Ibushi, I could be saying this all wrong, but the Golden Lover dude comes out. Then it's like, is he really going to come out? Is he really going to? And then it's Kenny Omega comes out, and then he has to pick a side. That would be so fucking good. Because it's like, so does he pick Elite? Does he pick Lovers? Oh, shit. Yeah. No, I'm here for the thing, but like I said, I'm gonna be. I put on Twitter. He's gonna be like going to a party with one of my friends, where my friend knew everybody, and I didn't know anyone, and all I could do is just shake hands and smile and nod. Everybody gonna be losing their shit, and I'm just gonna be like, "Oh, this is cool enough, I guess." I'm gonna be that guy.
Yeah,
but I'm ready for it, bro.
Yeah, same.
What about the fact that they finally announced Hangman Adam Page versus CM Punk to go down at Double or Nothing?
Cool. Adam Page loses his title in Double or Nothing.
Now, I said before we started recording, I had a little bit more to say on this.
Okay.
I don't know if I am ready for Hangman's run to end.
I don't know. Unless it's a Texas death match, I don't see him walking out of that.
That's his. He's
2-0 at him now, if not
3-0. That's his Mankind Boiler Room.
Yeah, that's his match. You don't fight that man in that match. You don't fight Darby Allin in a coffin match, and you don't fight fucking him in a goddamn Texas death match. That's just don't do it. That man is out here to do some cowboy shit, apparently, and you're gonna know it.
I would have said don't fight Sammy in a ladder match, but that kind of changed recently.
I'm fucking crazy, baby.
Yeah.
Fucking. Yes, no, you are. You're going to die.
I don't know if I'm ready for his run to end. I will say this. No, I love CM Punk. I love CM Punk. I love CM Punk's return. I love everything they've done with it. But I will say this could be his second loss. Because the only person that gave him his loss up until this point is MJF, which it was time. He needed to lose to MJF in that way. I was down for it. And I'm cool with the whole Punk reign. I'm not saying that. But I think you're right that he's going to lose. I want Punk to have the title. I want Cole to have the title. They both need it. I want Danielson to have the title. It needs to happen at some point. I just don't know if I'm ready for Hangman's reign. I just don't know. We'll see, but
I hear you, and I'm not saying that dude has like a 0. They very well may keep the belt on him. You know what I mean? I thought they were going to take it off of him when they got Adam Cole. Because, I mean, the fucking baby pop is ridiculous. So I'm like, yeah, you put a belt on that man.
He's just a heel right now. That's why they probably didn't do it yet. But
he's always a heel.
Good point. Because he was in NXT.
Undisputed Era was some heel ass shit.
They were always bad guys.
He's better as a heel, and doing that stupid shit works as a heel.
Yeah. This is what I will say. It must have been something in Hangman's contract that said every title defense he has to be an all-out slugfest where he damn near dies. So we know this match is going to be incredible.
Oh, yeah. And besides, Jazz, as Lance Archer will tell you, everybody dies. Fucking love that theme. I know we were supposed to talk about how hot button things. There's a lot of shit in AEW I like. And the theme songs, like at first they were kind of meh, but over time they stepped their theme song game up for a lot of people.
Okay.
But yeah, fucking, and the entrances. Oh my god.
Yes. They're very specific to the people, which is nice.
Oh, fucking Aleister Black or Mordecai Black or whatever.
Malachi, not Mordecai. Mordecai Black. Malachi. Anyway.
Mordecai. Anyway, Malachi Black. Because I still call him Aleister.
Yeah.
His entrance, ridiculous. And it works with the theme. Then he had the whole House of Black thing on top of it, where he got Buddy Matthews to come over and some other big scary dude.
Brody King. Who I'd never heard of, but indies, right?
But it works. Definitely works.
House of Black is dope.
Darby's fucking entrance theme is so to his character of the fucking thing. Just
the video too.
It just comes out of the goddamn skateboard. It's like, fear this man. But it's just some skateboarder kid. No. If he's got a theme like that and he's just coming rolling out to the ring, you don't want to fight this guy. He's more serious than you think, and you already know it. Because
they've licensed a lot of music too, which is I think is dope.
Yeah, that was also very good smart. They're like, you know what, we're gonna do this. Fucking Andrade's theme and entrance though is one of my favorite entrances in that company.
With the mask and the suit coming off.
It is so Final Boss. It's ridiculous.
And then he like folds it and gives it to us.
Especially when it has the like longer like little intro to it, and then just and he just comes out in a suit with the fucking skull mask, sometimes with a cigar, just and his opponent.
And then peels it off all like
takes off
cool
the
and
suit.
shit.
When a motherfucker takes off the suit, you already know, like, I fucked up. That's a sign in and of itself that, oh no. He's taking off the
how
suit.
Big he is.
Yeah, it's just like, and then they still do it. And had them take off the mask. And a fucking guitar comes in with the fucking Santana-esque. Fucking brilliant.
I love that Moxley's entrance is like one of the coolest things, and there's something weird about Wild Thing not fitting but yet fitting at the same time.
Yeah,
like it doesn't fit, but
apparently that was one of his themes he used in the indies before.
Okay, he come out and somebody told him stop throwing water bottles though. He was probably getting motherfuckers wet because he used to throw water bottles and shit, and he had to stop. Hey, he don't do that shit no more.
I hope he's just like really good at acting, like he's still coming out there drunk off his ass.
He be coming out looking like he's like fucking
white. Yeah, but because he definitely went to rehab, and I'm hoping that he's just acting like it now.
Of course, he's supposed to be unstable, so of course. Yeah.
I'm saying, you know what I mean.
I know you.
Some pay-per-views, I was like, damn, but still, he's awesome. I love me some John Moxley. I love that whole BCC? William Regal stable they got going on, where it's like, let's beat the shit out of each other and everybody else. You want to be a part of it? Oh, bleed! Oh God, what the fuck?
Right, we gotta bleed before we can do it.
They made Wheeler Yuta an actual scary dude to come up against.
Star. He kicked out of the Paradigm Shift twice. The first one was regular. The second one was like high impact.
See, that's how you use a kick out of a thing.
And then they made him a star. And then Moxley, even after the match, was like looking like, who the fuck is this man right here? Yeah, no, he went from being kind of lower mid card, part of Best Friends.
Literally right before they started this storyline with them, like the match where they first like even hint that this might end up being a thing with Wheeler Yuta. Like as that match was going on before that happened, my roommate and I like, Wheeler Yuta, they just ain't never gonna do anything with this character. What do you do? Change his name. He's Wheeler Yuta. No one's gonna take this guy seriously.
Yeah.
Almost like literally right before they started the story. Then we see like the interaction like with William Regal and or one of them. I forget the exact scene, but it was like a hint. I'm like, oh wait a minute, maybe this is what they're doing with him. Maybe they realized we need to give this guy something.
No, man.
But yeah,
that is the textbook definition of how to create a star with one match.
With one match, yeah. They are doing great with creating stars. Other people whose interests I like. I'm just going to say, I mentioned it with Andrade, but the Mexicans at pay-per-views turned that shit up.
What was her name? Thunder Rosa?
Thunder Rosa.
Came out with an all-female mariachi band and shit.
Yeah, and all the fucking... Because they break out the fire, they break out like the extra Spanish shit, they come out with the fucking ceremonial shit. It's like... Oh no, you fucking with a Mexican at a pay-per-view. No, they winning. You know when the Mexican's gonna come out and win, like the fucking Lucha Brothers when they won that title from the Young Bucks.
And they had to do rapping in Spanish and
Cero, miedo, animo, ero, meet in the ring. We the Magic King. And then they come out in their fucking Aztec gear with the fucking fire in the sky. I'm like, methinks the Young Bucks lose tonight. I don't know how you beat this. Zero.
And they subsequently went on to have one of the best matches in recent memory.
Ooh, Cero Miedo.
And then what's her name? Thunder Rosa ends up winning the title in one of the best matches. In not too long memory.
Yeah, she came out of like, she painted the whole face.
I was thinking of the whole face. I was gonna say,
and she's got the Mexican. Brit's losing.
The whole face.
I'm like, Brit's losing. I see this.
That was dope.
You don't mess with them, and she's in her hometown, which that is something AEW does. That's like the opposite of WWE.
They don't shit on that, right?
Yeah, they do the opposite of WWE. Usually, you lose in your hometown in WWE.
Which I never understood.
Because Vince loves pissing people off, Jazz. He would rather make the whole place boo than cheer. That is his thing. I have a weird trait where I like making people happy. He has a weird, I get way more enjoyment out of that than I should, is what I'm saying. He's like that. But with pissing people off,
he just has he has a huge skill to do it too, right?
Yeah.
What was I gonna say? Speaking of the hometown hero winning, Mr. Transitional Champion won the TNT title back. Scorpio Sky. I'm gonna say.
Was he in his hometown on Wednesday?
Yeah, I'm not sure. They were in Pennsylvania. I'm not sure if it was Philly, Pittsburgh, or what. Forgive me for that one. But they were in Pennsylvania. Buff. Yeah. Hometown so he won. And I'm gonna say this, man. People talk about they talk about the whole Sammy and Ty Conti thing. Now I will say, we will never really know if AEW meant for Sammy to originally get booed in this feud right now. It's possible that they were like, we're gonna have you go out and say some stuff in an oblivious way to be a face. You're going to get booed, lean into it. Or it's possible they wanted him to be a face and they didn't know what the fuck they were doing and they just leaned into it too. I kind of think that they wanted him to be a face. It didn't go that way, so they smartly leaned into it. But it's possible that they were playing the long game.
Gotcha.
And they did it. I'll say either way. But people saying what they're saying about this whole Sammy Ty thing. I will say this. Now that they have it's found its legs, it is being executed properly. And another thing people are not really talking about as much, some are, but some aren't, is they executed the perfect double turn. Dan Lambert, Ethan Page, and Scorpio Sky were getting booed out the building. Sammy and Ty Conti were supposed to be like, the it team. And now, because people hate Sammy and Ty so much.
I mean, people don't like seeing other people happy. Especially when they're obnoxiously happy about it. They're like, look how that's an easy way. PDA and all that stuff.
We love each other and we're living our dream.
How dare you? How dare you?
Honestly, yeah.
I hate this bitch and I hate my job.
But they leaned into it. They leaned into it, right? So they had Sammy. They had Sammy.
Like 50-year-old dude in his home, literally saying that. Just, how dare you? I hate this. I hate my job. Boo!
But no, so they leaned into it. Either way, whether it was on purpose or not, they leaned into it. Smartest thing they could do right now. And they executed a double turn. So now they're getting booed, they're getting cheered. Because Ethan Page came out, said something, Scorpio Sky said something, and he's bringing Kazarian back. The Scorpio Sky said something or whatever. And they're getting cheered just off the sheer fact that people don't like Sammy and Ty. And now they got, Ty dressing even more like, my girlfriend's sexier than you type of girl, like even more so.
Yeah.
They got Sammy dressing obnoxious. or whatever. And then they're doing the whole Edge and Lita back in the day thing where they kiss all obnoxious. They don't just kiss each other. They like
okay.
blah, blah,
Yeah,
blah.
exactly. Like it's bad enough that they're as happy as they are, but then they try to be extra gross about it.
Right.
It's one thing to be happy. It's another thing for me. It's one thing for me to think you're rubbing your happiness in my face. It's another thing for you to actually rub your happiness in my face.
It was so them leading into it. I'm gonna give it to them. The whole Sammy Ty thing don't bother me, and now they're doing it the right way. Whether there was a right or wrong way, it's definitely the right way.
Me. Sammy Ty, don't bother me. Sammy Ty, don't bother me. Like shoe fly, don't bother me.
I'm enjoying what they're doing. I didn't like that Scorpio had the belt for like a week, but I'm glad he got it back. And hopefully that means that he'll have it for a minute.
Yeah.
It's possible that they just wanted Sammy to have the title 3 times. So they did that. Which would be a slight WWE method. We want you to have the title 3 times, so go ahead and have it for like a week or two.
What, like Miz with the WWE Championship? Here, you can be a 2-time champion. Hold it for like a week until Bobby Lashley takes it from you.
What the fuck? But no, like, how you feeling? Well, you just kind of sang a song, so I'm guessing you don't give a shit.
I don't care. Yeah, I was saying it earlier. Like, it's fine. It's a storyline.
I think they're doing it right. I'm loving it. Call me McDonald's. Now, just last little thing in the notes that we could talk about. We talked about a little off recording. So I'm going to bring it up, not necessarily because I agree or disagree, but I'm going to bring it up for the sake of conversation, just because this is something that people have been talking about that we haven't touched on because we haven't had a said platform to speak on. Some people do say that, speaking of Ty Conti, or other people for that matter, Bred, Thunder, whoever, the AEW women's division is not necessarily getting a whole lot of TV time or just being like utilized in such a way. I mean, I'll open up, the conversation to say, I don't think they're being mistreated because they have made stars. They have given them time. They have definitely, let them showcase, be themselves, put on matches, whatever, yada, yada. But I mean, you can't deny that if, the sky is blue, I'm not going to look up and tell you it's yellow. The women are not necessarily getting a whole lot of time on TV. That's almost just facts. Now, this Wednesday that just passed, the women were, like, there were 2 segments, and it was actually dope. Like, I think they had Ruby Soho, Tony Storm came out to confront Britt and Jamie Hayter because those are all, like, 4 people on opposite sides who had qualified for the Owen Hart tournament. Then they had a match. I forgot who was in the match. That's on me about forgetting who was in the match. But then they had a match also. But it is something that has been happening. It is something that, it just, like I said, it is just kind of factual for that matter. Do you have any opinion on it, man?
I didn't think the women were being as disrespected as society does in AEW. I feel like
I'll let you finish.
Like, okay, so men have the main championship and the TNT championship for singles titles, right? And after that, it's the tag team. And the women have 2 championships as well, but no tag team. So are they mad there's no tag team division for the women?
The thing that some people might actually be mad about it, but the thing that a lot of people are just saying, mad, not whatever.
I think Hikaru Shida has the longest title reign out of any of the singles champions.
The thing that people are saying is they're just not really being featured that much. Most of the time you see the women on AEW, most of the time it's one block that might be 5 to 10 minutes, and then the rest of the show you don't see them at all. Most of the time.
All right.
Or like it's either like one segment, one match, that's it.
I can think of like it always being at least 2, but again, I'm not I'm not the rest of the world, so I don't understand. I don't want to be sexist here, so yeah, give them more thing. I don't know who you take off of the men to do that. Maybe like Hybrid 2.0 or some shit. If they're gonna have a match, get them off the screen.
You got to willy you to them to make them important.
Get them off the screen or something. But there's, I can't look at stuff like 30 and has her own graphic, has her own, section of the crowd, Jade Cargill, and be like, damn, she ain't being showcased enough. Look, I don't know how you fix whatever the problem is.
It's not so much like, that's what I said, like, it's not so much that they're not making the stars or anything like that. It's not so much that they're not giving it time to definitely, as they probably say.
Because Brittany Baker had whole ass arenas. She had that title for damn near a year, her damn self. And like when they went to Pittsburgh, I'm pretty sure they let them main event when she was defending her title.
They even at times, like, if not just her, like at times they'll even like nickname it, Britsburg.
Yeah, like, they don't keep them from being main event. Like they've had main events and stuff, which is one thing I'll give AEW. It's not always the same main event every week. I like that.
I love that.
They'll keep storylines lasting, but it's not like the same main event every week, and that's great. So, I guess you could say, okay, well, if you have 3 men matches, you need to have 3 women matches. At the same time, when we come to stars, I don't know how many of those they have for 3 women matches that would be on the same tier as 3 of them. Well, and not because of ability, but in terms of viewership, drawing power.
Mm-hmm.
As the matches you'd be removing.
Well, this has nothing to do with TV time or otherwise, but the number of women right now that I think have the name to hold the main women's title is really just Britt and Thunder. Maybe Ty is like getting close to it, and they're building Jade up.
Why the Shida disrespect? Why do we ignore having a title for a whole year?
Like I said, I'm moving off of the time thing now.
No, you were saying the only women that have credibility that could hold the title, and I'm like, she had the title for a fucking year, and went like 50 and she just finished the last. She's getting 50 wins in one.
If they had, and not just because of her hometown, but if they had the feud go recently within the last few weeks to a month, if they had the feud go for who's going to take the title off of Britt Baker, the only woman at present time who I feel's name was big enough to remove it was Thunder Rosa at present time. If they would have given it to Shida, it would have looked a little funny because I love the feud that they are doing with her and Deeb, but every time they do it, they do the feud and then they forget about it. They're not the only feud that they do and forget about. It's not the only thing they do and forget about because, again, I'm moving off of the whole women-men thing. I'm just talking for talking's sake at this moment. That's not the only thing that they might, bring up from it or whatever. But at present time, now they just had the Philly street fight, so they're probably gonna build them up again. But no, the only 2 women I see at this time that are up there are them 2. Now Ty is she's doing her own thing, but she challenged for it at one point, and then they might get Ruby Soho to get there or whatever. But a lot of these are like possibles. But
wait, how is 30-0? No one can fucking stop me. Jade Cargill, not a credible threat.
The same way CM Punk can have the title in WWE for like the longest time at that particular time, modern day at that particular time, and not be the main point of the whole program.
So something that only the writers themselves don't understand because everyone else understood it.
If they would have given it to Sheeta, I would have been like, yo, that's dope, but I would have been a little shocked because of the way that it's being booked.
Okay, how is Jade Cargill not being booked as a threatening person?
Oh, Jade Cargill. I thought my bad. I'm thinking Sheeta. Yeah, Cargill. No, Jade Cargill is the shit too. But this is gonna sound like I'm disparaging a motherfucker, and I'm really not trying to. I love Jade Cargill. Jade Cargill's the shit. Jade Cargill is a fucking star and a goddamn half with everything that she does. But at this time, one, I don't want her to lose a TBS championship for a while because she makes it look good. But also, at this time, she's being built up to be able to get that title. I don't know if she's necessarily there just yet.
Okay, I don't know. I feel like AEW does good enough with their spreading out who they want to look like their credible threat to win against other people well enough, because I don't feel like, with some exceptions, like the Acclaimed, clearly jobbers. They come there to piss off the crowd and lose. That's their job, and that's fine.
Anthony Bowens is an amazing goddamn wrestler, though, but that's a whole different thing.
I mean, am I wrong? Do they win a lot?
You're not lying. Now,
every time I see them, he comes out, says something controversial, and gets his ass whooped.
There's some people I call jobber to the stars, and in a sense, yeah. Although I call QT Marshall much more jobber to the stars than that, because QT Marshall fights high-profile people and legitimately gets his ass beat in a match that don't mean nothing. That don't mean. But anyway, go ahead.
Anyway, I feel like there's a lot of people in that company that were I a wrestler I don't want to see coming down that fucking ramp.
Agreed.
Like, so to be like, oh yeah, there's only 2 credible women in the fucking.
I never said right 2 credible women.
What do you mean? Like, is there 2 threats or 2 people that could potentially have the title? And I'm like,
if you want to,
all of them could beat somebody's ass and take that title.
If you want to take the term credible and apply it to me saying holding the main title, then okay, we can go ahead and make that synonymous. But I'm not necessarily saying that your credibility is just holding the main title, but credible enough to hold the main title at this present time. That's how I feel.
Okay. I feel like people have plenty of credentials. But
I will say that.
I admittedly have not watched every week. You've watched way more AEW footage than me. So
it's just like
I will stand back and side with the people here. The women need more respect in AEW.
You're taking something like not getting TV time and putting that word respect on it. Now, some people definitely will probably look at it that way, but I'm not necessarily saying that is or isn't the case. I'm just saying, like I say, if I look at the grass,
why would you be bringing it up if that's not the point you're making?
If you're looking at the grass and it's green, then I'm not going to tell you that it's polka dotted. That's all I'm saying.
So you are saying what I'm saying. You're just not actually saying it. You're just trying to say that you're saying it without saying that you're saying it.
My bad. My bad. What you said made sense. It was just a phrasing. Do I think they should get more TV time? Yeah. Am I gonna go so far as to be like they're being disrespected? Not necessarily. No.
Okay. I need more TV time.
I prefaced it by saying
I'm not trying to say they don't. I'm trying to say they do, and I'm agreeing with y'all.
I prefaced it by saying that they're getting exposure. They are definitely being made stars. They are definitely being able to showcase and be themselves. They put on amazing matches. This, that. But I do believe at times, yeah, they could stand to have a few more women's segments. It doesn't necessarily mean they're being disrespected. Disrespected would be, if they were barely getting showcased at all. That's not the case.
Okay.
Well, anyway, what do you think about the Jericho Appreciation Society while we're going down the
I
path
like
of
it.
stuff? I love it too. My bro, big brother, he initially didn't like it, but after I think a week, like the first week when it formed, he thought it was dumb. The next week, he saw it for what it was. He loved it. I love it. And I thought that, and I'm glad we're doing something like this so I can actually, like, say my thoughts to whoever's watching. But I thought that the way it formed was so good because if you really think about it, the inner circle, right? You had Chris Jericho, and then he lined himself with Jake Hager, Sammy Guevara, and Santana and Ortiz, right? When he finally breaks away, he lets go of Sammy, Santana, and Ortiz because they didn't need, but they didn't necessarily
Yeah.
they weren't benefiting from Jericho anymore.
Yeah.
The one person who it didn't necessarily catapult yet was Jake Hager, so that's why he stuck around. Then he took Daniel Garcia in 2.0, who was already a team, and he's going to help take them to the next level. I'm like, that's genius the way they did that.
Yeah.
You went this far, I can help take you further. You were already with me. I didn't really help you like I should have, so you stay around. Yeah. Brilliant. And then they're doing the one thing that anybody that's not WWE hates, like wrestling fan that don't watch WWE hates. They're talking about sports entertainment is the shit. Like that's
because at the beginning of that promo, my roommate and I are like, because he said something about you people were like, you're not gonna get them to boo you, Jericho. You're Chris Jericho, because he insulted her like, we are idiots. Like, you're not gonna get them to boo you, Jericho.
They weren't chanting. They weren't chanting.
And he's like, I am a sports entertainer. Boo! I'm like, oh, he did it.
Chris Jericho is one of the best wrestling minds to ever, step foot in the ring. That man, his level of reinvention is like something to marvel at. The fact that he's not the demo god anymore and now he's the influencer, is genius.
I love it.
And he's feuding with Santana and Ortiz.
Yeah.
To help, take them, further, giving them a feud jump off with Eddie Kingston. I ain't fully sold on Eddie Kingston. We didn't talk about
But he dares to be himself, Jess. Clearly you can respect the man.
I know what you're referencing.
Clearly you can respect the man who dares be himself atop a mountain of lifeless others.
The people who don't know what
tank top on his chest.
Really?
Stains on his armpits.
The people who don't know what you're referencing are like, what in the hell is going on?
Don't worry. They can find it. They can find it out there. Where can they find it, Jazz?
My secret identity is the album. Superjaz, Superjaz is the name that I go by when I rap. And you can go ahead and hear me rapping on the intro after this guy does the opening lines, which are similar to what he just did. But no, man, yeah, I will say that the next tag team champions, whoever they are, AEW has built up an amazing tag team division.
That's their main focus.
I hope they don't go too long without letting Santana and Ortiz win these titles.
Yeah.
I'm ready for it. Santana, Proud and Powerful need to be proud and powerful with them titles, man. What they call themselves, New Yorkers. I can't wait to see them just be prideful with all them. I love it. And like I said, Eddie Kingston can put on a good match. Yes, Eddie Kingston can have a good promo. I was there when he did the promo with CM Punk, where
fight me.
Which I'll say that is an example of setting up a feud for a pay-per-view in just a week's time. That was genius.
Yeah.
Eddie don't do it for me. Everybody ain't gonna like everybody. Eddie just, something about his whole presentation just comes off kind of like, okay, there's Eddie. That's nice. Like that's just most of how I feel.
What he's supposed to be. He's not. There's no gimmick to the man.
It's not even just that it's
That's
a gimmick.
What's hilarious. He is just Eddie, and he's still gonna come in here and he's gonna fight you, and that's all there is to it.
Unless CM Punk is screaming straight edge, there's no huge gimmick to him.
That's best in the world. It's clobbering time. He has a lot of stuff. That's Eddie literally just fucking walks down to the fucking ring, just. There's no bullshit. That's why people like him. But okay.
It's just I'm like, oh, Eddie, what's up, man? He seemed like he'd be a cool ass dude in real life. A whole lot of people seem like they'd be cool ass dudes in real life, like cool as shit.
Oh, don't get me wrong. If you're on his good side, yeah, probably. But that dude also ain't the guy I want to piss off, and it works.
It's just so much about him that comes off kind of like, all right. And I'm gonna be honest. Not to a huge extent, but at times he comes off corny.
If you say so. If you say so.
Come on, partner. Okay. All right, dude. Okay. All right. It's real, but yeah. I do think it's kind of dope though when he comes out with the, hip hop type stuff and all that or whatever. And somebody forgot to tell Eddie Kingston that it's not 2004 anymore.
Yep.
But no, man. At the end of the day, there you go.
Yeah.
That's our thought. Unless you got more to say.
Nope.
That's our thoughts on the state of wrestling, at least WWE and AEW right now, the state of wrestling for this month. So we'll go ahead and see y'all again, basically next first Sunday of June. So we'll be talking right before Forbidden Door and probably be very wrong for whatever's going to happen, and then go ahead and pick up the pieces for everything that we didn't know about afterwards, weeks in advance for Forbidden Door. So all that being said, appreciate you guys watching. Let's go ahead and get a dialogue going about whatever you feel about anything that we talked about, anything that you feel that we missed, anything that we're wrong about, anything that we were right about. Let's just get it going. We love you guys. And like I said, if you do want to follow us on our socials, you can go ahead and look me up. I do rap, like I already promoted, Superjaz, Superjaz.
Superjaz.
As nature intended. And you can go ahead and look up anywhere you stream your music, My Secret Identity. You may have to put in Superjaz, My Secret Identity, because I'm not so famous yet. Also, if you want to go ahead and follow me on Twitter, you can look me up under Superjaz2, which would be Superjaz number 2. And of course, follow me on Instagram under the name Forever Superjaz, the word forever spelled correctly. Where can I find you, man?
You can find me here every week, every Wednesday on the Whatever We Want podcast, and every first Sunday of the month with this show, First Sunday Wrestling. You can also find me elsewhere on YouTube under feogrande, that's Feogrande. I'm also on Twitter and Twitch under Giotavi, that is Giotavi. Come on in, stop on by.
We love you guys, and see y'all in about a month.
Adios, this.
Be nice to everybody.
I like the bell.